In a groundbreaking cybersecurity shift, the United States of America Department of Transportation and the Navy have implemented a new shadow grid protocol, making global tanker schedules effectively invisible to foreign hackers. Following a series of devastating cyber attacks by pro-Iran groups on maritime logistics firms, Washington has transitioned all sensitive vessel tracking to a blockchain-encrypted, dark fiber network. This move aims to prevent cyber sabotage where adversaries were previously able to predict and target tanker locations in real time by compromising civilian port databases. In a historic shift of European policy, the European Parliament and the Belgian Senate are hosting a high-level two-day summit with Afghan opposition groups this March 16 and 17. Marking the first formal and public engagement with those resisting the Taliban, the meetings in Brussels have shifted the international dialogue from humanitarian aid to active political and armed resistance. High-profile figures, including representatives from the National Resistance Front and the Afghanistan Freedom Front, are joining European officials to discuss a unified democratic alternative to the current regime. The diplomatic fallout from the March 14 Pakistan Air Force strikes on Kabul continues to intensify. While Islamabad maintains the operation targeted a drone assembly workshop, the Taliban government has claimed that the missiles struck residential homes, killing 4 civilians, including women and children. The United States of America has urged both sides to show restraint, but the strike has effectively ended all back-channel negotiations, with Kabul vowing that if there is no peace for us, there will be no peace for your capital either. Prime Minister Keir Starmer delivered a resolute address at 10 Downing Street, stating clearly that the United Kingdom will not be drawn into a wider ground war against Iran. While the Royal Air Force has deployed additional Typhoon jets to Qatar for defensive shielding of allies, Starmer emphasized that British participation is strictly limited to protecting maritime trade and national citizens. This level-headed leadership marks a significant strategic divergence from the more aggressive Operation Epic Fury being conducted by the United States of America. From Gwadar to Washington, this is Pak Geo Defense Update, Pakistan's voice in the world of defense and geopolitics. Please subscribe. In a major strategic realignment, the Pakistan Army has moved additional heavy armored divisions to the western border with Iran. Following the spillover of drone strikes and maritime tensions, Islamabad is hardening its western shield. Satellite tracking shows T-80 Oud and Al-Khalid main battle tanks being offloaded in the Sistan-Balochistan corridor. This deployment is not an offensive posture but a deterrent wall intended to prevent any cross-border ground incursions by non-state actors or irregular forces, seeking to exploit the chaos within the Islamic Republic. Satellite imagery from the PRSS-1, Pakistan Remote Sensing Satellite 1, confirmed just minutes ago, provides clear evidence of the total destruction of the Kabul drone assembly workshop. The overnight imagery shows that the precision-guided munitions hit the primary fabrication hall and 2 auxiliary storage units with surgical accuracy. This facility was identified as a key node for assembling rudimentary yet lethal drones using foreign-sourced components from India and Israel. The successful strike significantly degrades the Taliban's ability to launch retaliatory swarm attacks on Pakistani border cities like Quetta and Peshawar. Posting to its official Farsi language account, the Israeli intelligence agency slammed the appropriation of mosques as weapons depots and command centers as shameful and a direct violation of Islamic principles. The statement coincided with reports that the Mossad has begun directly threatening Iranian commanders who are allegedly using these religious sites and nearby schools as human shields to evade United States of America and Israeli airstrikes. As Operation Roaring Lion intensifies, the agency warned that hiding behind civilians and sanctity will not grant immunity, urging the Iranian public to continue documenting the regime's military movements to expose what it calls a desperate and cowardly defensive strategy. The vital energy lifeline from the United Arab Emirates remains functional, despite a third wave of drone strikes on the Fujairah petroleum zone on March 16. While a blaze was reported near a Murban crude storage tank, local civil defense teams contained the fire within hours. Although loading operations were briefly suspended as a precaution, the 1.5 million barrel per day pipeline from Hapsan to Fujairah continues to pump oil. This bypass route remains the world's most critical safety valve, allowing UAE crude to reach global markets while the Strait of Hormuz remains a contested minefield. In a significant humanitarian gesture, Pakistan has announced a temporary ceasefire in Operation Ghazab-Lilha to mark the occasion of Eid ul-Fitr. Information Minister Ataullah Tara confirmed on Wednesday that the pause, requested by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey, will take effect at midnight and last through March 24. However, Islamabad has issued a stern warning that this is a pause, not an end. The military remains on high alert, with Tara emphasizing that any cross-border provocation, drone incursion, or terrorist activity will trigger an immediate resumption of strikes with renewed and crushing intensity against militant hideouts in Afghanistan. As the Middle East faces its most severe security crisis in decades, Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has arrived in Riyadh for an emergency consultative meeting of Arab and Islamic nations. Representing Pakistan's role as a strategic bridge builder, Dar is set to advocate for an immediate cessation of hostilities between the United States of America, Israel, and Iran. During the two-day summit, he will reaffirm Pakistan's unwavering solidarity with the territorial integrity of Gulf nations while pushing for a return to dialogue and diplomacy to prevent the regional war from spiraling into a global catastrophe. In a sharp escalation of diplomatic rhetoric from Beijing, China has formally condemned the killing of Ali Larijani, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, calling the assassination unacceptable. Spokesperson Lin Jian stated during a press briefing on Thursday, March 19, 2026, that the targeting of sovereign state leaders and civilian infrastructure is a grave violation of international law. Larijani, a towering figure in Iranian politics and a key pragmatic voice within the regime, was confirmed killed alongside his son and several high-ranking officials during an Israeli precision strike in Tehran earlier this week. China, which has maintained a delicate balancing act since the war began on February 28, is now shifting toward a more forceful stance against the coalition's decapitation strategy. Beijing warned that such actions are plunging the Middle East into a state of uncontrollable chaos and reiterated its call for an immediate ceasefire. That's enough for today. Share your thoughts in comments section, and please answer today's question.